All right, welcome back to the Green Dispensary Marketing GDM Podcast. My name is Samuel Fisher, the co-founder of GDM Green Dispensary Marketing. I'm always trying to talk with the best entrepreneurs in the space. So specifically, one area that I'm really looking forward to talking with on this podcast is having a great POS provider who is not only just a copy paste POS, but has some really innovative new products that are going to change the game. And so I'm really excited to talk with Antonio Panella of Bleaum. He's going to be talking with us about his product, everything that they've been working on, and some really exciting new features for the cannabis industry. I'm really excited to talk with you, Antonio. How are you doing today?
Sam, thank you for having me. Everything going great, man. Looking forward to this conversation and talking a little bit about our solutions and yeah.
100%. No, really, right back at you. Really excited to learn more about what Bleaum has to offer. Just looking at your website. We had talked previously a little bit, but let's get the full story here. So let's start from the square one. What inspired you to start Bleaum? Where did this idea come from? Why are you here right now?
Thanks. So awesome. Great question. So, we about 8 years ago, I had just finished an MBA and I was working at S&P 500 company in strategy, and I hated it. Right. I've been an entrepreneur for many years, and kind of got a job to see what that was like. It wasn't great. It wasn't what I was made for. And one of my buddies was in venture capital, and he was living in San Francisco, and he was like, look, there's a big thing happening in Colombia with cannabis, and I'm super stoked about it. And I've been in the industry for a little while, funding different companies, and I think we should look into it. So we basically, we went down to Colombia. We met a bunch of people. We bought licenses. We started getting, just ready for more of like a wholesale approach to things. And we had a variety of different products, and multiple different products, but one of them was doing CBD at scale and just kind of working with that. And man, it turned out that the regulatory environment wasn't so favorable as we had initially thought. So what was our next step? We're like, okay, we're going to pivot. And immediately what I was thinking is I want to start an e-pharmacy in South America. Like I saw an opportunity there. I met some people and I wanted to push for that. And through that experience, I was, getting in touch with different software companies all over the world, just kind of presenting the project to people, talking to people like, look, I see a really big opportunity in the pharmacy space in South America. What do you guys think? And I found my partner there, my co-founder. He was based out of India, and he was doing technology for large scale pharmaceutical chains. And he really liked the idea because, he saw that, this was a thriving industry and it was new, and he was interested, and, we got along, and we had a similar perspective in many areas in life. So, funny enough, I'm the guy that just cold calls people and makes relationships. I love to do that. So I am naturally. And so we hit it off. We started working towards this project, and yeah, it was still, there was an aspect of it that was with cannabis. And it was still, the regulation was so heavy that we were just like, look, this is getting crazy. Like, we can put more time into this, but like, what other, my partner asked me, he's like, what other areas do you see we could do or where we could spend? And I said, you know what, here I'm noticing, from an e-commerce perspective, not many things are happening in the cannabis industry, in multiple states. And there's a couple of embedded menu software programs, and, but it's new. It's a new industry. It's not evolved yet. There's a lot going on here. Let's jump in, offer some of the same solutions that you were offering to these large scale pharmaceutical chains, and let's bring it to the industry and see what happens. So I'm just calling people. We started off in Oklahoma, dude. I have a love for Oklahoma because just the people are just cool, and it's easy. It's a hard, tough industry. Specifically in that state. I mean, generally it is a tough industry, but in that state it's so competitive. And so, but I'm calling people, just learning and like, yo, how are you guys doing this? How are you approaching this? And talking to people. And I was like, look, I went back to my partner. I was like, look, let's go after this market. Like, I think people really do and really can create these small communities on maybe, an app, have their own app, have their own website, and and make a difference for their business, like truly make an impact, create their own communities. It's very hard to market. It's very hard to go about these angles. And a lot of people will use, different large marketplaces, which are great for the top of the funnel. But like, how do you retain those people? And that was the biggest issue, was like retainment. And so then we started taking partners live and, talking to different POS companies and creating those relationships. Man, a lot of beautiful, great people in the industry, friendly. There was POS companies that were like, no, we're not going to integrate with you. It was a major component because, we have to have that inventory that's live. We're not going to duplicate it and bring it back and forth. And how do we do that?
Yeah.
And there was a couple of POS companies that believed in us. And those guys, I recommended a lot of deals to them. So it was a very mutual, beneficial sort of relationship. And we started growing in that way. And we had multiple integrations inside the industry and outside of the industry, with POSs. And after some time, we just started noticing, these integrations were great, but, some of them didn't have webhooks. Some of them, we had to pull every 30 minutes, every 45 minutes. And there was a lot of disconnects because there was a lot of information that we were missing out on to give them the full story, as we were speaking about before. And so, I talked to my partner. I was like, look, man, I think we need to get into the POS side of things because, there's a lot of areas that, from an API perspective, that's one thing for the e-commerce, for them to get to their clients. But there's a lot of things that they're doing internally that it hasn't gone to the depth it needs to be. And I've cold called and I've spoken to so many people and heard these problems over and over. And so many of our partners were just kind of just talking to me about it. I was like, look, we need to hit certain things, unsexy areas, inventory management, right? It's such an unsexy area, right? You count your inventory and whatever, but nobody really takes into consideration all the problems that go along with that, right? You have miscounts, theft, you got a lot of stuff. There's a big issue in there. From an API perspective, we were talking about e-commerce. What does that look like? Can we get inventory live? Can we, cross-promote deals all through one system and have it all go through instead of creating deals on the POS and creating deals for the e-com? SEO, relevance from your website, a crawlable website that, would create SEO opportunities for the future so you could become relevant, when people look up Dispensary or whatever. And also another part of that was the delivery feature, right? So last mile delivery. So how can we attack that too? That could be part of, our product offering. So we went after it, man. And here we are. We launched our POS earlier this year, and it's something super exciting. People are excited. We do demos and we get great reactions. And look, we're not for everybody, right? We bring a certain level of tools to the table that are a little bit more sophisticated in some areas. And we're going after it, and we're here to grow. We want to become a household name and continue to move forward with it.
Yeah, 100%. There was a lot to unpack there, and so we're going to do this one by one. And so we have a set of questions, and so we'll dive into each of these little products that you're kind of briefly mentioning, because a lot of the lingo that you're just using will kind of fly by the heads of many people that are, maybe interested in starting a dispensary. Wait, what? And so, first of all, I'm really excited or actually interested that you lived in South America. I spent 8 years of my life in South America, mainly in Peru, Colombia. It's just really great place. Nice. Personally, I think that's where the next green rush is going to be. What do you think?
Dude, I'm in Colombia right now.
Yeah, what part of Colombia are you in?
I'm in right south. When you arrive in Medellin, I'm in Rio Negro. It's you basically go up into the mountains, and we have a farm up here. So I go back and forth. I travel
right out of Medellin.
So, yeah. That's
awesome. I love that city. Spent a year of my life there. But let's not talk about us. Let's talk about the product here. And so, really curious. So you were mentioning all these different products, all these different features that you do. Imagine, put yourself in the shoe of somebody who has no idea what this POS or compliance, what do I have to do? Report to METRC? What the hell? What is this? What makes Bleaum stand out from other POSs? There's some big names in the game. I don't need to name names here. Everybody knows that. But what makes you guys stand out?
Well, I think there's a few layers to this. I think the first thing is we're very hands-on with our partners, things that they need, that we hear them, right? It's not, hey, contact me, fourth quarter 2026 and we can chat about it, or we don't have anybody to chat about it with. We're like, what's going on? How do you like this? What are you doing? What are you doing? What is the process that you're going about, this particular area, and how could we handle it in the system? How could we automate it? So it's one thing to as we build, it's not built from what we think is the best way. It's built from experience. And I think that then comes the second part of it. From a feature perspective, you can have a particular feature that solves a problem. But what are the edge cases of that feature? How is that experience actually happening? What is going on when you do go about counting inventory, or when you do process a transaction, or when you do create a deal? How long does it take? What are some of the issues that you're running into? So that's the second layer of it, making the experience of the software very intuitive. And that comes not from just saying, hey, yeah, we have this and we've made it to what we think is good. That comes from feedback, like, hey, can you jump on this? Would this be easier, or should we go this way? Okay, wait, let me go back to the team. Let's brainstorm it. And we're going to come up with maybe a better execution on this particular thing. So it's that. The third layer would be, bringing together the multiple components that you need to run your business. If you have larger, MSOs and bigger companies that have a lot of money that can afford to put together an app, put together a nice website, get a really great POS and have those integrations going. But it's expensive. When you deal with multiple different companies, you're paying a premium for each service. And what happens is, when the way we're approaching this from like a cost perspective is, we want to be able to bring expensive technology that's broken up all in one to you for an accessible price. So pricing is another thing. And I think those are the main components, and then the last one would be really truly solving the problem, because I can count inventory, I can do it, but there's problems around how that's being done specifically. So how do I make that better to lower the amount of miscounts, to lower theft? And so, those few layers are what I see sticks out. And when we do demos and when customers use these different features, there's a very positive response, and so we're super excited about that.
Yeah, 100%. I think let's dive into this inventory management thing. Let's dive into that rabbit hole real quick. And so, in my industry, doing SEO, a lot of what people will do typically is they'll take like a typical POS that has iframes or whatever, maybe make it so they can iframe one page individually and then construct each page manually. That way they kind of have an SEO presence. And so I'm curious if you have that similar sort of feature where, you can set up a URL structure, have just kind of basic SEO in place. And if it also reports that to the authorities, whether it be METRC, BioTrack, how does that work?
Yeah, the POS is fully integrated into METRC, and every single transaction, transfer, everything, it's a true push and pull. So everything is reported into METRC. From our website it's not an embedded menu. We have a couple of templates. It's a full native web portal, and you have the ability within to customize pages, blogs, different scenarios that can create SEO relevance. And so we try and push for that. I think that we're still lacking a tad in the SEO side, and I'm looking forward to working with you and ironing those things out and bringing more relevance to them so they can really put themselves on the map. Because I get the ultimate thing here. Our core goal is to help these companies thrive in different areas that they're lacking. And so, bringing that awareness, bringing that perspective, bringing the technology that's a little bit easier to just implement is a huge plus for people who, are just getting started or trying to bring together many pieces. And here we have a package that you could just implement and go for it. And so we're constantly trying to make the software better, to create more SEO relevance with what we're talking about. But yeah, every day.
Yeah, but you have basic infrastructure in place, which is really nice because, a lot of these POSs don't even have that. So, put this code on your website and you have your menu up.
That's the problem. The embedded menu it doesn't get crawled by Google. It's
exactly.
A cool idea, and it fits beautifully in the website. Like, people make their website, they spend a lot of money on it, and they put an embedded menu there. And the embedded menu is cool, man. It's not that it's not. It's just that it doesn't create relevance, and it kind of sucks. So it's like, how can we help with that?
Yeah, preaching to the choir, man. Let's dive into the payment structure. So, a lot of dispensaries are still kind of in the stone ages where they only do cash. And so I noticed that you guys have cashless ATM. Can you break down your payments?
So our payments. So we have we have Bleaum Pay, with we have Bleaum Pay, and that's basically just online payments. And that's an integration with AeroPay. I want to be clear about that. And so we offer that through for mobile app and website payments, and then on our back end as well. And then we have partners. We're working with a company called Merchant Club based out of California. Shout out to Kyle and Zavin. These guys, they bring a variety of solutions to the table. So we have a really deep partnership where when we onboard clients and bring clients on and vice versa, we make those introductions. And so they have a variety of different cashless ATM providers that they work with, and credit card payments and different solutions that we bring to the table and allow them to sort of offer those different solutions that they don't usually have access to.
Credit cards. I'm not sure if I've heard of that before on a POS. Maybe I've just been living in the Stone Ages as well. But that's pretty cool because, as you know, a lot of the people that are running these credit card companies don't want to work with cannabis. They just don't want any of this dirty cannabis money. But you guys are already integrating with it. That's really cool. You also mentioned mobile apps. So I was looking at your website. I believe we talked about this briefly before, but I didn't see mobile apps on there. Is that is it a new offering? Is that a new page that we're putting on the website? What's going on there?
No, that's it should be up there.
Maybe I didn't click the right button. And so I'll take the fall.
On the mobile app, man, that's how we started this business. So we were doing white label mobile apps and websites, and the white label mobile app that we created, and now everybody's having an app, right?
That's the new way.
And, it's funny. Some of the companies that didn't want to, some of the companies we asked multiple POS to integrate with, and some of them said no, and they were kind of tough. And we'll get our revenge through time. It all works out in a very interesting way. But we have worked very hard on our mobile app. Our mobile app is top tier. So we have loyalty point programs. We got membership programs. We have scan QR code, get points. We have payment embedded. Delivery, shipping matrix that people could ship like CBD products or t-shirts or whatever it is. We've really worked hard on the mobile app, the white label mobile app. It's a beautiful thing. A lot of our customers love it. It's where they create their communities. It's where they say, we're gonna push for SMS and email to get people on our mobile app, and once they're there, we're gonna send push notifications. And it's great because they can say what they want. They can automate it in our system. Our push notification system is super high grade. You can do a lot of really fun stuff with it. And, we're working on the marketing side of the platform on the back end, which, we're growing that. We have a cool integration that we're working on currently with Blackleaf directly into the system. Shout out to James. And we want to bring that together with email marketing as well, and use the channels, right? Use the channels that we can do. We don't use weed maps for top of the funnel. Use your SMS, use your email, get people onto your app. If some people don't get onto your app, hit them up different ways. Have the data, be resourceful, use the tools that are available in order for you to create the deeper relationships with your customers, I think is the core focus of that. But the app's a huge benefit for those who use it. A lot of our partners do go with the app. They find it really interesting, and it's super helpful, and it brings a lot of sales and a lot of deeper loyalty. It's I always talk about this, you gamify the situation for your clients, right? They come in and they get on the app. They now are part of the loyalty scanning, the membership programs. They're not thinking, hey, I'm gonna travel 20 miles to save $2 on this product. I'm just gonna shop with this dispensary, and because I'm always getting hooked up and they're taking care of me. And psychologically, that plays a big role.
Yeah, 100%. I really love. You briefly mentioned this, but when the customer has your app, they have it downloaded, they have push notifications, permissions for those. This dispensary just unlocked a brand new wave of retargeting those customers and customer loyalty that most don't even get. So, as you know, SMS, it's hit or miss. Sometimes it's working really well. Sometimes the regulations come in place and they block the messages. Email, it's okay. It works. It does its job. But when you have these push notifications, it's directly to the cell phone. Everybody has a cell phone. It's right there, and it pops up right in front of them. You can say whatever you want. There's no banned words because it's your app, your infrastructure, your land. And I think that's really cool. Let's dive into this loyalty program thing. So you do the push notifications. You also help with infrastructure for SMS. You mentioned Blackleaf, email. So you have like an all-in-one in-house sort of loyalty machine. Is that what you're kind of describing here?
Yeah, so the idea of so what we're building that, and I think that the core root of this is another area that we really target is reporting. A lot of people run 15 reports, they feed it into these business intelligence tools, and it's like this long process to get this data point that they need. Right? They're teasing up the data. It's taking so long. They got to do all these things. One thing that we're working on currently that we're soon going to take live is an AI reporting, and it's just a tool that you speak to, right? And it's going to give you the data you need, and then through that data, you're going to be able to make decisions faster, and then target correctly. So this goes to do with like customer data, employee data, product data, inventory data, and so being able to speak to a system and get responses quickly is incredibly valuable. From there, you're targeting 100%. Correctly, right? From there, I know what people are or aren't doing. I know what people are buying, and therefore, when I create these ads, whatever route it is that I take, I'm going to push it to them, and I'm going to touch on what they like, what they need, right, so in the right way.
Just so I'm understanding correctly here, so essentially once you log into the tool, you have like essentially an AI chatbot, I would imagine, where you just kind of, hey, how many wild gummies did I sell today? Oh, you sold 10. And is this, and this? Is that the kind of system you're describing?
It's a beautiful thing, man. Yeah, it's along those lines. It's something that you could speak to. That's cool. And we're in an age, now with AI that, it's bringing a lot of, right. It's not like, hey, AI, go make me a POS. People think that they could just buy those. It's not like that, right? Like, but it does bring access to data in an effective manner. Now you have to create that. And so what are we looking at? We're looking at, this tool. The first level of this tool is being able to speak to it and gather the data. The second aspect of this tool is agents in different areas. And so I go into a particular area of my POS, marketing or whatever, and I have this agent and I speak to that agent. That agent helps me create these deals in these ways, right? And so little by little, we want to really use AI within the platform to make all these processes even more effective, right? I want to be able to go on the POS and speak what it is that I want and have that come to life.
Yeah.
So even though we have tablet view and regular view, and it's really intuitive, really user friendly. Like we're stepping into this new era of technology that is making things a lot easier. So yeah, to your point, first is chat, but there's a long list of things that we want to do with AI on the system. So, and we're heading directly down that path.
100%. What's one thing you're excited about, or maybe I don't know what maybe you can share with us? It's not super proprietary, like original. Is there a new AI feature that you're excited about that you can share?
In very high level, I've kind of just spoken to it. Like this sort of path that we're going, we're moving in the direction of incorporating in several different areas. Just to it starts from reporting, it goes into marketing, it goes into making the sale, it goes into suggestions, because we have all this information. If you click on certain areas of the POS screen, you're going to get the data you need. It's a click away, it's a read away. How can we make a budtender's life really easy, right? Like how can somebody walk in and things pop up in a way that perhaps the owners or the budtenders would like to see in a sequence of information bits that they can communicate live, right? Not that they have to click here and sort of read in or this approach. It's more of just an easy way. So in a nutshell, the AI features, there's several of them, agents, we're working towards this.
Yeah, cool. Another feature that I'm curious to learn a little bit more about is your delivery feature. And so, obviously there's a lot of compliance and rules and whatever that go into this. Somebody call it. Let me decline that call real quick. That just ruined my train of thought.
We did
delivery. Don't call me in the middle of my podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
But So some people can do delivery, some people can't, really depending on the jurisdiction. So I was looking at you stalking a little bit. I noticed that you kind of use these driver apps, and so I'm assuming what you got going on here is somebody places an order, places delivery, and then on the back end, whether it's API, webhooks, whatever, I don't know how you do it, you have like an Uber showing up at the dispensary, picking up the product, and then delivering that over to the customer. Is this the kind of process I'm looking at here? Or
Yeah.
how does that work?
So basically, the last mile delivery solution that we offer is it's basically all integrated into the back end of the POS, and there is one separate solution that you would sign into to configure it, but it's a last mile app for the drivers. So the drivers basically from the back end, you could see all your deliveries. You choose your area that you want to, and then you highlight certain locations that you want that driver to go to. Maybe it's in a particular area of the map, and then you assign it to that driver. The driver gets those orders on his phone, and from there, it's set as far as the best route. The optimal route is already preset on the mobile app. Now, if maybe the first, you normally would start on the first one, you click start delivery, and it guides you first one, and then you go through the process, you verify it, and then you go to the second one, start, and then you go again. Now, if for whatever reason, maybe customer, the second person in the route is very angry and you need to get it ASAP, you could just start the delivery of the second one, go, and then click the first one, and it'll route you accordingly, and then you click the third one and go. And then there's also the ability for you to create a new delivery. Maybe the driver just left, he's on his first delivery, he's doing 20 deliveries, but I just got 3 more in his area, so I can add another delivery to his schedule, which brings him back to the location. He comes back to the location, it picks up the other 2, I assign the other 2 or 5 or however many, and it reroutes it, and then he goes off again. So it's just the ability for them to have that sort of delivery functionality, verification, everything in an app that they're able to just go, and it's all the, everything METRC requires, all the reporting aspect of it, it's all embedded into the system, so it works perfectly A to Z.
Yeah, I love it. Is there any sort of, it's kind of a little bit of a tangent here, but do we have like an automated system to leave reviews, whether that be on their Google profile, the site itself, to kind of help with, reviews help a lot with SEO, for example, especially their Google profile. Do you have any sort of infrastructure for that in place?
This is such a great question, Sam. We need to work on things like this. We've been discussing this. A lot of our partners ask us about reviews. I mean, first of all, reviews on products on their website and mobile app. That's one layer of it, and the second one is reviews outside on Google, on different channels. And when a customer has a mobile app or a website, when one of our partners has a mobile app or a website and the customers are signing into it, they can create automated messages. And what we recommend that they do is, like, at the end of an order, or when they sign up or whatever, wherever they want to do it, these automated messages, like when they sign up, hey, thank you so much for joining X Dispensary. We're super happy to have you. Leave us a Google review and walk in and take a picture of it or send it to us in the chat, and we'll give you something free. So we recommend that they push these sort of messages automatically onto their, but we need to take that next step of, incorporating it into, from a reviews perspective, incorporating on the mobile app, incorporating on the website, and having, that sort of thing. So we're working on that too.
Yeah, but you got the infrastructure. That's really cool. Just curious about that. What other products am I missing here? So we've covered integration, we've covered inventory, we've covered delivery, we've covered mobile apps, we've covered loyalty. What other cool products are we missing, or are you working on right now?
So I think one of the key things, Sam, that we want to look at is really diving into the depths of these features, like we did on the inventory side, and we still haven't finished. There's still ways to go, but the next thing we want to dive into is on warehousing. Is basically locate like being able to have a system, an ERP type solution that tells you where in the warehouse is product A, how many there are, and like you can go and it's at C63, right? And I go and I know where it is. So a warehousing aspect of it. there's been some ideas with cameras and stuff from an inventory perspective. So there's a couple of things that we're kind of like, discussing internally and seeing which one we can prioritize. Interestingly enough, and what's happening now is we're doing demos and we work in a few different industries. Our core industry is cannabis, but other industries come to us. We have partners that have businesses in other industries like, hey, I want this for my business. And now we're seeing other industries come to us like, hey, you know what? Like, I'm using X really big POS or whatever big POS, and I saw one, somebody I saw using your POS or your e-com, I really liked it. Can you tell us more about it? And we're starting to onboard different industries. And so, with these different industries, we're noticing there's more need for like warehousing and different, we're kind of picking and choosing what we do depending on the demand and the need. And so we have to, but there's a lot of things coming up, and again, and this circles back to the initial point, Sam, that we were talking about, is like, we are very hands-on with our partners. Like, we're like, what do you like? What's happening in your business? Like, what doesn't work? Because we're not perfect, man. There's a lot of great systems out there. There are. And we're building a system. We're trying our best to really build an all-in-one system that encapsulates a lot of different areas. So, we're constantly learning.
Yeah, we'll love it. You guys are already created a monster, honestly. Just looking at this list of features that we have on Bleaum, it's incredible. We're super excited to see what's in the future for you. Is there any other product, anything that we're missing that you wanted to kind of dive into a little bit more?
As of right now, I've kind of, I think we touched on a lot of the core and important things that we're working on. I think there's still time to go for us to develop these areas in a deeper way. There's things that I could talk about that that have been brought up as well, but I don't think right now is the moment. But overall, I think that we want to really refine this. Look, I keep talking about inventory. I keep talking about reporting. We got to think about the areas that people spend the most time on and that produce the most results, right? Like, what areas what do I truly need for my business to stand out? I need data. I need to understand what's working, what's not. And we still need we have a lot of really cool tools, and I'm talking to you about this AI reporting into the different areas.
Yeah, that was really cool.
But we really need this is an area that can be extremely fruitful for business owners generally. Like, if you know the story of what's happening in your business, you can move accordingly and lean into areas that are going to help you in a better way succeed. And so providing data is super important, and then minimizing costs and understanding the intangible costs of ways and I'll circle back to inventory one more time, like miscounts, theft, paying overtime to do inventory audits. There's a lot of time spent in these areas. A lot of time that could be devoted to do something else, and a lot of cost when there's missing products. A lot of cost, intangible costs of spending time fixing the inventory because of a mistake. A lot of people, and it's funny because I talk to a lot of our partners all the time, and it's like, we have our staff, and everybody's smoking and they're counting, and they make mistakes. And fixing those mistakes is super timely. And how do we minimize those mistakes? And so providing solutions that can help them be aware of the mistake at the moment is incredibly valuable. So how do we bring that to the table? And so we're making those things real and trying to help them out from that perspective, which saves a ton of money. We have a joke internally. It's like, our inventory management system makes our whole entire software solution a wash. So that's kind of where we are right now. But yeah,
love it though, Antonio. This is like we're talking about Bleaum. We're talking about probably a very unique POS here. I haven't personally seen another one that does all of these different features that we're talking about. And so there's a huge value in this. And so I'll definitely make sure to leave your contact information, any sort of way to connect with you in this video I have a few more questions for you. That's cool. Just kind of a little bit more fun.
Totally.
So, I'm curious, first of all, what can you tell me about the first time you tried smoking weed?
um, I was like 16 years old with my cousins. I was in Pennsylvania. A part of my family is from Pennsylvania, and they were just like, "Hey, have you ever tried this?" And I was like, "No." And I mean, the typical story. I did it, and I went to sleep. And I never really like I didn't smoke until my early 20s, like in college, and it was something that I enjoyed doing, but I always had a respect for it because I'm very like conscious, like health conscious and everything, and so I like to do sports and exercise, and I think smoking made me tired often. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I tried it when I was 16 years old, and I think that it serves a really cool purpose. I've been doing drops lately, these little drops, and just a little bit every once in a while, and that's where I'm at right now with smoking.
Whoa, hold on. What is this drops thing? Explain that.
It's this little like these little cannabis drops, right?
Is it like cannabis oil? Ah, yeah, got you.
Like a little bit, but not too much, right? We don't, these edibles thing is no joke, dude. I don't like I've had my experiences. You can always do more, right? But yeah, just maybe every once in a while I'll do a little drop and feel that effect. I have 2 kids, young. I have a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old, and yeah, man, and like I got to be focused, and I need my relaxing time too. So this helps with sleep, with relaxing. It's incredible, man. If used correctly, it's a beautiful thing, and I'm super stoked to be in the industry and be a part of it. And the product is amazing, and it's helping lives, and it's great, man.
100%. So you're actually in Medellin right now. I was going to ask you about your favorite product. Being there, I've spent a year of my life in Medellin. Have you tried those like the Gorilla pre-rolls that they have going around the
really big ones?
Yeah.
I think one of my friends let me try one once. Yeah, it's interesting. They have. I mean, look here. They allow you to grow 19 plants, and so we've done it in the past. Like years ago, we had a couple of plants in our backyard, and I mean it's regular outdoor. We have like this area. I mean, it's eternal spring here, right?
Yeah.
So the temperature and it's perfect. You grow it, just grow it outside, man. The sun hits super strong, plants get huge, and I mean, it's super, it's natural. It's nothing too intense. Like I said, I'm not a big smoker, so I just just a little effect maybe before I go to the gym or take a jog or something. I love that. But yeah, man.
100%. Well, we're turning this into an advertisement for Colombia. It's a great place for the record. Yeah.
Totally, no, super cool.
Well, let's wrap this up real quick, Antonio. So we've been talking a lot about all the different products you're offering. Clearly, you have a lot of experience in cannabis, and you know this industry pretty well. And so I'm curious, knowing what you know, seeing what you see, what's going to be the next 5 to 10 years of the cannabis industry? Are we looking at more global, Latin American green rush? Are we looking at maybe USA legalization, maybe both? What do you see going on?
I mean, globally, we're seeing years over years of change, and which is cool. I think there's a chance that we may see legalization here in the States, and
for money, no.
I mean, it's hard to kind of predict because it's like, you know what I mean? Like I thought that too 5 years ago. If you would ask me 5 years ago, like, hey, like, do you see legalization in the States? I was like, possibly, and like, I don't know if we're any closer. We may be a little bit, but I don't know. It's very hard to predict these things, but I do see. I mean, at the end of the day, the product is helping people, and you can't stop that. When people discover it, it's life-changing. And I've seen this with elderly people, which is the greatest impact. And how do you take that away from somebody? How not make that more accessible, right? The abuse of the product is not correct. I'm not agreeing with, small children using the product. I'm not, but for medical purposes, I mean, perhaps even recreational, right? But like, I do see there's from a legalization aspect of things, I do see, more countries adopting it. I mean, we're already seeing, European countries move into it. So those are new markets that are opening up. I see I see a very, very, very positive and green future for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I love the kind of the disclaimers. Like, I don't really know because it's kind of hard to put it to you. But once again, this is a name that you're going to want to remember. It says Antonio Panella. He represents a company called Bleaum, and that's not just like Bloom. It's Bleaum. And so I'll make sure to leave a link in the description. But super excited to chat with you, Antonio. Let's circle back in maybe 6 months, 12 months, something like that, and talk about new product offerings and see if we can collaborate a little bit. Let's find some ways that we can kind of help each other with. But thanks for coming on, sharing your knowledge, sharing your product. I'm super excited for the future of what you have in store.
Sam, appreciate you. Thank you for having me. Great conversation, and look forward to working together.
Likewise.
Hey, Sam here. Thanks again for listening to the GDM Podcast. So we do websites and SEO for cannabis brands and operators, and we do things a little bit differently here at GDM where we can promise results within weeks rather than months. And so if you're looking to sell more ounces, bongs, other premium products, start selling some more weed, get in touch with us at Green Dispensary Marketing to learn more. Thanks again for listening and hope you have a great day.